Hey everyone. So I was sitting here working and my mind started to drift to the past, as um, it often does. I'm sure everyone can relate to that. And what I started to think about were the times in the past where I was seeing um, uh, mental health professionals. So I used to go see a counselor um, for, I guess you could call stress management. It was sort of the big picture of everything that was happening. And, it was after my head injuries and, I had massive projects at work and I didn't ever used to be one of those people who could leave work at work. I always took it home with me. Um, so I I had a lot of stress. And I didn't have any tools. I didn't have any coping mechanisms. I just was a doer and I always forced myself through it. I wasn't a quitter. It was like work hard or never, ever, ever give up. Just push through, push through, push through, suck it up. You know, I'm sure everyone can relate to that sort of mentality. Um, as well as, we were having challenges in our marriage with my ex husband and that sort of thing. And I started to think back to what it actually looked like when I would go to see her. And please know this is no judgment on mental health professionals. They are amazing. This is my specific experience, and she was great. Like, she helped me a ton. I am seeing now sort of something in the past and how I function now. And so that was my epiphany where I was like, oh. So, um, as you go see a counselor, social worker, therapist, that sort of thing, you go in, right, every week, every 2 weeks, whatever, talk about things. And what I'm seeing now, like, I always, because if you've seen any of the things about me, I don't like to do stuff slow. Patience for myself is one of the things I work on. And um, I can see where I wanted things and I believe things could have gone further faster at the time. And everything that's perfectly fine. I don't judge myself for that. Everything's in perfect order. It's just this place where I was like, I would go in and talk all the time, but now I'm seeing like I would leave and I didn't, like, I usually felt better, but that was like it. Like the momentum or the change or what I was talking about ended at the end of the session. Like I would go home and nothing happened until the next week. And it's one of those things where I'm seeing I wasn't ever given any tools or homework or, tips and tricks or mindset, changes, anything in that regard that really could have helped facilitate and integrate the things I was talking about, the things I wanted to change. Because like I said, it would just sort of end there. Because it wasn't like I could go home and talk about the things that went on in, the session. It goes on in the session for a reason. And I wasn't at a place to be able to explain. I just knew that um, I wanted more. But I didn't even know what to do with the fact that I wanted more. Everything is a choice, right? Every thought, every emotion that we have is a choice. And um, but if you don't even know that, if you're not even in a place where you're comfortable enough to be choosing for yourself, which I wasn't, I had low self-worth, massive people pleaser, believed everyone was more important than me. My job was to take care of them. I always put myself last. And so even thinking of myself wasn't anything I could ever even dream of. I mean, I ended up going to the counselor for my health because I was not, it was affecting my physical health. And the thing that I noticed, it was like, oh, things could have been different. And I remember this one time she'd written something down on a piece of paper about like the 4 personality types. And the two I remember, one was bystander and the other was like motivator, and there was two others. And her point was is that my ex-husband was a bystander in life. That was his personality type. He's very passive. It's great, works for him. I am not. It's not how I function. And so she was saying, also with all the other challenges we were having, that we weren't a match. but I didn't know what to do with that information. And even it's this place of like, if we're not a match, okay, then how does that start to look like? How do we shift that? How do we change that for myself? Whether you choose divorce or, and even if we were a match, the challenges we were having, like, how do we move forward with that? How do we create something different? There were never any steps. There weren't tools. There wasn't homework of, places where I could go home and start to observe my own behavior in a new way, or start to write things down of like, this is what I noticed about myself, this is what I noticed about the people around me, this feels good, this doesn't feel good, so that I could start to have awarenesses and gather information about what was happening and what I wanted. And it's sort of that place where people are like, oh, just choose to be positive. Well, when your life is kind of chaos, and um, you want to be positive, but to go from being in the pool of chaos to just being positive, like, that's a pretty big leap without anything in between. And then when you can't sustain being positive, you then judge yourself, right? So then you're in this cycle of, oh, I can't even be positive, right? Da 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 da. Or at least that's what I did. So, um, and so as I was sitting there thinking about all of this in the past, where I was like, oh, I wish I would have had this and that, it dawned on me, my epiphany for today was that is why I'm so passionate about um, my clients and my friends. God love them. Um, everybody gets homework. I am so big on tools and, you know, um, showing patterns in behavior and tips and tricks and mindset work and homework, that everybody gets it. And because that is where the work actually happens, like where your internal work actually happens. So if you're a client, you come to see me, um, we'll talk about things, we'll shift things, I'll show you certain things, give you information, and then you'll go home with homework. And sometimes it's real simple but powerful. It's like one thing to do, but it's super powerful. And sometimes it's more in depth, just depends on, what we're looking at the moment. And it's it's so cool because then the client gets to have that sense of achievement, and that sense of their confidence grows because they're the one actually doing the work. Like, I'm just the guide, and I'm thrilled to be the guide. I'm not doing it for you. I will stand here and be your champion because I do believe that you can make these changes, because I don't take clients that aren't wanting to change. I just don't take them on. So if you're finding me, if you're coming to me, there's a reason. You're wanting something different in your life. And so you get homework. And even someone that comes to see me for a traditional psychic reading, they go home with homework. And they're always surprised by this, and it cracks me up. And I used to judge myself in the beginning because at the time I didn't know anyone else that was giving homework, whether it was for a reading or, full blown life coaching or mediumship or, animal consulting, anything you come to see me for. I was given homework, and I was like, oh, right, when you're different, um, we can judge ourselves for that. And then I was like, no, this is what I'm led to do. Like, you know, your being is wanting this. You're in front of me. I'm not just giving out homework willy nilly. I'm not like some evil teacher who's like, everybody gets homework. I want an essay by Monday. This is what you are asking for on a higher plane. And the homework is specific to every person, every single session. And it's so much fun. And it really helped me see that about myself, where you sort of put the two pieces together, because I didn't really know why I was so passionate about this part. And I never really asked the question either, of why it was such a big deal to me. It's just part of how I function. And so it's it's just this place that I love, that people get to make changes in their life. And there's they're changes that will last a lifetime, because it's one of those things, right? We see this stuff where it's like, well, be positive, or you see these big concepts where it's like everything is a choice. Well, if you're going from a place of not ever even knowing that you had choices in life to everything's a choice, like I said, that's a really big leap. Like, how do you get there? Where's the bridge? Where's the structure, the foundation, the scaffolding? Like, that is the thing that I am really good at, and the thing that I love to be able to give my clients. And yes, for myself, I'm not so good at, steadily baby steps, and that has been my practice the last probably 6 7 months. Like, I like to do things bigger, get them done, and yet it has been daily steps and transformations for me, and it's been great. I love it. um, and it's one of those things that I do for other people, but I'm now doing for myself. And that scaffolding and the structure, so that when you take these concepts and we build that for you, they then have a place to live, right? It's like, oh, they go in apartment 2C, and oh, this over here goes in apartment 4D, and now this is built for you. You won't need me forever. The goal isn't to need a coach professional forever. You come to me, you grow to whatever extent you want, and then you move on. Like, I want you to grow to the point that you don't want me, need me. Like, that's the target. That's the best part. And those things you then have from your homework and the actual inspired actions that you took and you followed and you shifted in yourself, that stays with you for a lifetime. That's not linked to me. That's not something that you've got to come see me every week for so that we can keep up. We get to a point where that foundation is now yours. And then you start to function from that foundational place. And it's the coolest thing. So, um, yeah, it was just interesting to me that when I saw sort of the link, but also the really big space between where I, experienced not having the tools and the place where I'm so passionate about it now, and seeing how much it helps to have those things, even for myself. So thank you to all the people who have provided me and helped me with my steps along the way. And I hope my epiphany for today, which I'm super excited about, my brain is just wanting to go in a million places, um, helps someone else, provide some insight. So thanks so much. Happy Monday!